Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining the first episode of WareIQ's Operations Insights Series. We are really excited to have you here. In this episode, we have with us Mr. Saurabh Singhal, co-founder and head of supply chain at mCaffeine, one of the leading skincare brands in India, who will be sharing with us insights on the topic of streamlining and managing end-to-end operations for new age consumer brands. mCaffeine is India's first caffeinated personal care brand with an exciting range of products for young and aspiring millennials. Currently, the brand has grown to rupees 250 crore of annual revenue rate in a very capital efficient manner and is aiming to scale it up to rupees 700 crore by financial year 2024. Saurabh has been at the helm of scaling supply chain since the brand's inception and is leading the efforts currently to grow it further to meet the scale of supply chain the brand is aiming to have in the coming years. On this note, I would like to extend a warm welcome to Saurabh.
Thank you, Aman. Thank you so much for that humble introduction of me and the brand. Thank you.
This session will be moderated by Mr. Omkar Karandikar, Head of Supply Chain Design and Planning at WareIQ and Ex-Director of Inventory Planning and Control at Flipkart. We'll be opening the floor for questions from the audience members towards the end of the session. From this point on, I hand over the reins of the session to Omkar to take it forward.
Thanks, Aman. Thanks a lot. So welcome, Saurabh, again for this session. This is the first of the sessions that we are going to have on operations. So it's a pleasure to have you on board on this very special start.
Same here, Omkar, same.
Yeah. So Saurabh, let's start our discussion with the very start of mCaffeine. So how you started in Mumbai first, right?
Correct.
So how you started and what were your initial choices of, let's say, supply chain, and what were the thoughts which were going when you initially had like first year or first few months of operations? Maybe if you can start with that, it will help us in taking the flow forward from there.
Definitely. First of all, thank you, Omkar, for hosting me. And it's a great initiative that WareIQ has taken for spreading the information about the supply chain, because I think this is the least discussed topic among the environment right now, is what I think, right? And it's good to have that there are a lot of participants who are willing to listen to the what so called sometime a boring supply chain. Yes, but it's a good thing. So first of all, I would like to tell you a little brief about mCaffeine. Already Aman has told us. I'd like to add a few points so that people who are viewing this would get to know what mCaffeine is. So mCaffeine is a personal care brand. It's India's first caffeinated personal care brand. We have products in hair care, face care, and body care with superfood of all the ingredients, which is caffeine. Caffeine is a lot of research benefits on hair and skin. So all our products has caffeine into it. We have our own D2C website. We are present on marketplaces. We are offline heavy. We are going international. So the distribution is quite heavy right now. Till today, we have touched more than 5 million customers in the market. So the journey was really exciting. So as you asked, like, how we started and the supply chain by how we started the supply chain. So basically, that at the day of before the day of inception, our first focus was customer service and customer satisfaction is the key focus area which we kept in mind. And yes, to achieve that, quality and serviceability, so quality with respect to the product, the packaging, right, and serviceability from operations are the two major focus executions that we generally took into.
Right.
For quality, we invested heavily in R&D. All our products are made by our own R&D team. Hence, yes, we are trying to use as we from day one we want to offer a mass premium brand to the customers, right? So the product has to speak in that way. We invested a lot of time, energy, and resources on packaging part as well, so that if you feel the product, it looks really good. Yeah. And in operations as well, from day one, we were very finicky about the serviceability, that if a customer is coming on any of the platform for our product, right, he or she should not go empty-handed. So this is how we started. This is how we kept in mind we want to serve the customer in the right way. Is the first focus points for me entering into the supply chain, or the supply chain what mCaffeine sees, right?
Now, Saurabh, in terms of sales channel, typically we interact with a lot of D2C brands, and there is always this discussion that whether we should focus on our own website versus let's say marketplace. Correct. Right? And these decisions could be different when let's say start of the business versus when the business goes mature, right?
Correct.
So, what was your take on that kind of decision when you started? How did you approach this marketplace versus own website kind of question?
Got it. So Interesting one. Isme, हाँ. So website, basically when we call it D2C and we call it our own website, we generally use website as an asset for brand, right? When people enters on our website, they can feel the brand, right? They can feel our thoughts, what it has to do. Marketplaces on the other channels are generally considered as a sales channels, or what you can say, people can discover your product there, right? So both the channels are very, very important with respect to serviceability, with respect to what you say, visibility, branding, sales, right? And I don't think there is a big enough conflict for any brand that is coming into the market right now, that they should see these two as a separate entities. Because if you want to reach if you want to become a 2000 crore revenue brand, right, both the parties will play the major role in contributing to the sales, right? But with website, you can tell your story in a better way, in the way that you want to, right? But for a very, when you do a start, right, you know that calling people at your website would be very, very marketing budget heavy. So marketplaces gives you an quick entrance into the market so that people can discover your products. And your own website, you can tell the story, tell the branding, tell what you are, what your product stands for, which you can tell beautifully on your own website, right? So we always weighted these two as an equal part, both with respect to sales, with respect to operations. So these, I think, we need to take both of them very seriously. If we want to reach at least a 2000 or 5000 crore revenue brand, they will play a major role in helping you to reach at that goal if you want to.
Yes. And I think both of these channels come up with their own pros and cons, right? So I'm sure pros, a lot of people discuss pros. But if I have to get into cons, like what are the challenges typically that you face when you go to, let's say, a marketplace channel, versus what are the challenges that you face when you are going a D2C way?
So your own website is your own baby, right? You can mold it in whatever way you want to, or whatever is best for the customer, right? Both with respect to the distribution, both with respect to the operations, the supply chain, right? In marketplaces, there's always a constraint, right? Because first of all, entering into that cluttered market where there are 10,000 of face washes that are present, where there are too many brands like us who are trying to enter into the market. So the clutter is very high. It is basically you are entering into a mall, is what you can see. You're entering into a marketplace, and you're entering into a website is directly you're entering into the shop of that mall, right? So but yes, operational challenges, you have a better control on your website, how you can run the operations. You can take whatever decision that you take today, you get to know the impact tomorrow, plus the customer information as well. So you can talk to the customer, you can get the information, you can get n number of insights why your product is working or not working into the market, right? So you're very near to the customer. In marketplace model, you get the data, you can analyze it, but you can make a sense out of it. It is very hard to get because the customer is your true critic, right? Whatever the market says, nothing matters. Whatever your numbers says, it nothing matters. If customer is saying good, because customer always tell to the brand with no filter, right? If he likes the product, he or she likes the product. If they don't like the product, they don't like the product, right? So website pay operations, and then you can mold your operations or mold your marketing in that perspective. But on marketplaces, they run in a certain way. Inventory management is a bit tough on marketplaces. Plus, there's a lot of competition there on the marketplaces where you have to make your way to reach to the customer. So I think better control is for website or your own D2C.
Absolutely.
There, operational controls are not that much. You can control an operation to a limit where you can make your products reach to their warehouse. Post that, they are the owners of their inventory. So they run the operations accordingly. So this is the major gap, what I figure.
So, Saurabh, from supply chain perspective, when you started the business, right, did you try out some, let's say, innovation, special packaging? So we hear this requirement a lot of times. There are people who send out thank you note for first purchase, maybe fifth purchase, another card saying thank you for being a loyal customer, something like that. So any thoughts on that? How it works, how it doesn't work?
So basically, any kind of personalization is a little bit tricky in scaling up. right?
Absolutely.
For
Yes.
example, if I want to say a thank you note to all my customers would be fine, but if Omkar is purchasing from my brand, from my website, right, it would be difficult for me to personalizing things for Omkar, right?
Right.
So we always think that let's assume there's one customer, her or his name can be anything, but if you want to convey it to that one, right, convey it in a very personalized way, but which is what you can say, directed to very personal message, but it is open for all, right?
Okay.
But scalability is one thing which I figured out. Key personalization is scalability is a bit difficult,
Yes.
right? People have cracked it. It's not that it's not impossible, but when you are entering into it, you have too many variables to handle, right? I think less number of variables, if you can crack, it would be more easier to run the supply chain or the operations. Is what
Absolutely.
I think in the top of my mind. Yes.
Absolutely. So, any talk that we have recently in last couple of years cannot complete without having mention of COVID, right? So,
Definitely.
how was the COVID period? What kind of challenges did you face, and how did you come out of that event, which was probably not even thought in wildest dreams by
Correct.
anyone?
Correct. No, it was a very tough. It was a very tough time, and it is tough for the entire country and not the only brand, or so the world was affected by that. But yes, that was the most challenging, but more interesting way where you figure out, क्या and now people can join viral, क्या इससे खराब तो मतलब what worst can go with after COVID, right? There might be, because people have not thought about COVID as well. There might be, but till today people say, okay, now we have lived through it, so it is okay. But yes, that time the major challenge was again the key, how you because people are understanding that there is a COVID, but still how you satisfy your customer, how you give that serviceability was the biggest challenge, right? We ran the operations, we took all the measures that we can take in our warehouse. We took all the, what you say, the permissions from the government, from all the government authorities, but still running the operations was difficult because people are also there was a fear in people, right?
Yes.
That time the only thing that we did is, I was personally sitting at the warehouse, I was personally looking at the operations, so that people get kind of confidence that okay, these people are working by,
Yes.
and being present there gives my people a confidence that okay, now we can work because someone is supervising at least the hygiene. So
Yes.
that things are going in the right direction. We have given so we have appointed one consultation doctor, right? Anything to anyone who can who wants to consult, right? So these are the softer things that we have taken as a measure. But in operations part, we find an opportunity, right? If we
Yes.
survive this time, then
Yes.
the path would be much easier जो भी आने वाला है than the path that we are running right now. So we are
Absolutely.
very energetic at that time, we are very positive at that time, and that time we increased the supervision by 10x, right? We were monitoring the orders. My entire few people from the marketing team also is checking the operations, so that if our supervision is very tight with respect to operation, the goods are coming in the right way, the goods are getting dispatched in the right way, reaching to the customer in the right way, right? And hence the only thing that helped is the more supervision, where we figured out that now it's a problem. It's a basically, when you have anyone who is not well in the family, you have to sit with them, you have to make very we have to show the empathy, and everything that we can do, that we did. So this is how we basically try to go. This operations were the same. It was challenging. We used all our contacts in the market. So from that time, the major learning was you have to build contacts in the industry, right? Because we all brands are that time on the same page, learning from each other. Okay, what you are doing, how you are solving this problem, and people are so kind that they are helping us. Okay, Saurabh, do this. If they are getting any problem, I'll tell them. Okay, do that. And hence, at that time taught us that you should have good connects in the entire industry, and it will help you a lot. So this was a major learning out of that COVID wala situation that happened 2
So
years
COVID
back.
has made everyone stronger, I'll say.
Yes, definitely, it is.
And I see this as a big opportunity for increasing sales for even a lot of D2C customers, entities as well.
Correct.
A lot of people actually started trying out different brands, and because of that, a lot of brands were actually known only because of COVID.
Yes. The better outcome was that. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Saurabh, now let's talk about the growth perspective, right? So you have grown to become a 100x company, right?
Correct.
So how do you see the supply chain transform when you are at X and when you are at, let's say, 10x and when you go to 100x? What are the things which are the stress points which probably someone has to be aware of in terms of what something can break down, or what are the things that you need to take care of when you are growing, let's say 10x and then to 100x kind of scale?
Got it. So I think people for scaling up has to invest in two things. One is tech and one is data. Is what we
Yes.
if you have a very good control on tech and data, it can help you at least know proactively that what is going to happen, right? If you have a good team, then you can deploy a team on execution. So
Yeah.
for example, when we started, there are three things that we founders as supervise basically. So projections. So marketing teams make projection, what are their plans, right? Second, so we call this projection, planning, and supervision, right? So projection is basically what are the marketing plans. Our planning team sits on a review call with marketing team every month, every bi-monthly as well. What are their plans, how they are planning, what are the marketing plans, what are their focus area, which category, which state, say for example, any plans in their mind, right? It might be, they might be executed, but the free flow discussion, but at the very start, you also don't know what we're going to run, right? When you go back, so we go back 5 years back, right now we can connect the dots, but that time it was a call that we were trying to take, but all that calls were backed by data. All the calls, we don't believe in taking a gut call ki let's do this thing and we'll ho jayega to dekh lenge. It's not.
Yeah.
Any decision that we take is backed by data, so we invest heavily on data. Now collection of data becomes very much easy if you invest in tech. So for example, from day one, we had our own, we had WMS, OMS. For logistics, we have a dashboard where we can get the key, what are the delivery tabs and all those things, right? Our website was built on Shopify. We have SQL databases that has been deployed into the system, so that if data collection is easy, then investing in team who can analyze the data part and given beautiful insights on that, right, helps us to take the decision in a better way, right? So we get the right projections, the planning team projects, based on those projections, the planning team takes care of the production planning, the demand planning, the distribution and everything. And third part is supervision, which is basically then supply chain comes into that picture, but whatever they have asked either to produce or to distribute, right, has to be supervised whether they are doing in the right direction or not, right? So you always, if these three departments are working in sync, right, then scalability is then only execution part that is missing. If you can't scale, then you are lacking in execution. If these three are aligned, right, the only thing you have to be better at executing the plans. So these are the three areas, I think, if you are starting any kind of brand in the market, right, and if you want to scale, right, you have to invest in these three areas with tech and data, keeping that tech and data in mind, and you get a proactive approach, right, rather than reactive. Oh, okay, the sales has been increased, let's do this thing, that thing. We know that their sales going to be increased in couple of months or 3 months or next quarter, right? Let's get things starting preparing from today.
Right.
This is how we generally, this strategy has helped us to scale up tremendously in the past 3 to 4 years.
Absolutely. So execution and planning, I'm happy to hear the planning also featuring in that.
Planning team is the most, I think, most underrated, but is the heart of the system, because they can take you, they can guide the path for you. Basically, if the planning is right, then at least you know what to plan, what to execute. Otherwise, everything is haywire. Okay, they have said something and you have done something. Planning team to planning, and I don't know, people. I think this is a new vertical that is emerging up right now. I'm talking to brands, and they are focusing on now a vertical called planning, demand planning or production planning. Planning vertical is now in a good conversation for the brands, or for D2C brands, basically, because of the fluctuation in the projections, right? Because there are hundred of marketing tools that are running, Facebook, Amazon, Google, and all those things, right? People are our marketing teams are running 24/7, right? Hence, what works, they also have a sense, but it leads to a fluctuations, right?
Yes.
And the planning roles came how to handle that fluctuations, and hence the supervision of the supply chain and the interaction of these three makes a beautiful output is what
Absolutely.
I have seen in the past 5 years, and touch would be the results are fine till now.
Absolutely. So Saurabh, apart from this growth trajectory that we are talking about, and let's say something like COVID, right? Apart from that, were there any other factors which actually made you think about the overall plans and overall growth trajectory that you are taking? So just to give an example, in case of Flipkart, a lot of times there are like government regulations keep on coming, and
Correct.
certain ways in which you can do business and certain ways which will not be able to do business. So something like that you encountered, and if yes, how did you address that from your perspective?
So basically, it is actually very easy to do business in India, right? You get all the kind of we have a strong legal team, so all these things are taken care of. But the external factor that helps us to scale or to think for scaling is what you can say customer feedback. If I tell the other factor than the sales, the projections, everything, customer feedback was the one that triggers the scaling up of our operations, either in-house or external, or going to different cities, right? So we are very close to customers. We always talk to our customers, and funny things happens. Brightest of our mind in the team, right, are unable to solve some problems which our customers gives us solution in a normal conversation. Kya, you are doing this, why don't you put this to solve this problem, right?
Yes.
So there was a product, and we were facing one issue in the packaging, right? There was first batch, and I'm talking about 2018 when we launched our coffee. Our first customer who purchased that product has given a small feedback. We did that small change in the packaging, and we never faced that problem. So all these feedbacks and everything, so scalability has been come from there. So for example, if a customer given so what happened is our people were loving our product, they're buying from our website, then they're again buying from the website. But at some point of time, we call our caffeinated customers, right? So the caffeinated customers are not coming on our website for a small span of time. So we figured out what happened. So we called them, we understood with them, and they told us ki Saurabh, and we founders have a practice to take a call with our customers, right? So I got one feedback ki Saurabh, as you are seeing supply chain, right? Why will I order from your website if it is taking, I'm sitting in Kolkata, you're dispatching from Mumbai, and it is taking 5 days for me to get to the product, right? And that strike care customer wants us to be near to them. Hence, that gives a trigger of expanding our operations, basically. So that was a trigger for scaling up our operations, and scaling up our operation, then backed by the sales and everything. So this is the external factor that I think, and I don't know if I addressed your question correctly. If
yes. So just to rephrase you, basically you are saying you actually heard the customer feedback for faster deliveries.
Correct.
Rather than the cost, it was decision driven by delivery speed for the customer.
Right.
Perfect.
Right.
And typically you will end up at a point where you'll have to do this make or buy decisions, right? So
Correct.
Operating, let's say, fulfillment centers on your own versus outsourcing it, right?
Correct.
So what was your thought behind taking a certain decision in a certain way?
See, we are living in an era of prime, right? We are living in an era of quick commerce where people are getting things in 10 minutes, right? So it is a demand of the customer now that they're a little bit impatient because they are getting that service, right?
Yes.
So hence we figured out that it will not go near to our customer, right? We'll never be able to give them that first point that I have said, the serviceability part, right? People are willing to buy from our website because if they want to read about the product, if they want to know more about the product, they are willing to go on our website. But the only thing that is taking back from them, and they're going for the ease of ordering and all those things, but that is the major role that was played. And hence we have to scale up our operations to different cities. Now, scaling up is one tech part you can scale team, but a big part for a brand to scale in, or a big part to scale up in supply chain, is infrastructure, right? Infrastructure is a big part, right? It requires a lot of investments, lot of expertise. Now cut to 4 years back, right? There are a lot of players in the market who are helping you, who are building the infrastructure for you.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
They have already identified the problem, like WareIQ have already identified the problem of brands like us, right? So we figured out, okay, let's talk to these people, whether they will be able to solve our problem or not, right? And they're solving this problem more beautifully than us, right? They are the experts in the market. They know what things to be done in the right way. Then why don't you join hands with them? So
Sure.
hence it triggered that we need to scale operations. For scaling operations, we figured out if we're going to scale, it will be a slow process, because again, it's requires a huge infra, right? It cannot be built in a day or two, right? But if people have already spent that in infra, if they have in tech, in team, in space, right? Then I find out, okay, then it made us more comfortable. And it gave us more confidence. Okay, now you can scale up. Now you cannot beat Prime, right? You cannot be that quick commerce. But yes, customer can wait one day more than what Prime is offering. Right?
Yes.
And then we figured out, okay, there is a need to scale. There is a way out to scale. Then we can scale from day one. This is, I think, if you ask me, Sir, what is the thing that you'll go in the first, if you go for 5 years back, the one thing that will change is, I'll start with because right now I have SOPs, so I'm just taking up baggage of here from and back. But yes, you should scale very rapidly, because in the era of Prime, you have to win the customer by serviceability. Nothing excites the customer more than the serviceability part, is what we figured out in the past couple of years or 3 years, and then we have expanded our operations across the country.
Absolutely. So Saurabh, mCaffeine has come from 0 to 250. Now, if you want to go towards 1,000, what is that piece from supply chain angle which is important to you? So typically, we have seen people take 2 different routes, or combined routes as well. One is on international side, one is on let's say offline or multimodal channels perspective. So how are you approaching these 2 options or roads in front of you?
Basically, till today, we have only touched 5 million customers, right? 5 million customers have used our product, right? So there's a lot to touch, basically.
Yes.
Now, when we started, we were only D2C and marketplace present, right? We are online first brand where you can purchase online. But in a couple of years, we expanded rapidly into offline, right? We figured out that there is a part of people. So if you read articles in the past future, the retail sales has come to the same part before COVID, or it will going in the first quarter of the next year. It will going to be similar to what it is pre-COVID, right? So there's a lot of people there in the market who are still willing to buy from their nearby kirana stores or from homegrown chains in their area, right? So offline is one major area, but right now, what we think is we haven't done anything till now, right? Everything is just started, right? So we have to nurture the D2C, we have to nurture the marketplaces. Offline is the area where we have started working heavily. International is also an revenue channel, right? Plus it puts the brand on a global map, right? So we'll definitely going to explore. We are still into that exploration process, but we still think these 3 are the major areas which can lead you to 1,000 crores or 2,000 crores company. International will help you more towards, so we see international as more towards putting the Indian brand engineered in India on a global map, where we can proudly say that we have made one brand from India who is a mass premium brand, which was a perception that, okay, there's no as such known brand, right? There are a couple of there which has put India on a global map with respect to personal care, right? As a premium part, we have products that are selling, we have brands that are selling outside India, but as a brand perception, as a premium brand perception, there are very few. So we are trying. So for international we are approaching towards that angle.
Aspirational, yeah.
Correct. But all these 3 have a very large scope there, where we can become a 2,000 or 4,000 crore revenue brand with these 3 channels. So there's
Yes.
a lot of things that are pending to be done in these three channels.
And how do you see the interplay between these three channels? Because the requirements, the expectations in terms of, let's say, serviceability, availability of stock, or for that matter, even the pricing
Correct.
could be different in all these three segments, right? So how do you see that the supply chain can address all three in a just way?
So the customer segment is totally different on all those three places. Like, for example, if people who are, what you say, skin intellects is what we call, right? Who people want to read about the product, because right now, what we have seen the change in the past 5 to 6 years, people are not buying a face wash, right? They are
Yes.
buying what the face wash does, right? They're buying for that reason.
Right.
So people who are skin intellectuals, right? People who doesn't want to wear a product, they want to wear a brand, right?
Yes.
Are coming on your website, right? People who so marketplaces offer 3-4 things. One is the price part, right? One is the ease of ordering part. One is the last mile part. So those kind of people, or people who want to do a lot of products ordering on a single platform, right? These people go more towards the marketplaces. Now there is a third pool of people who are going into this part, the offline part, right? So the
Yes.
TGs are a bit, so TGs is same, but the kind of people, the purchasing patterns are totally different on the customer purchasing pattern is totally different on these three. So
Right.
as a supply part, the only thing we have to make sure is the product should be available on all the three places. Our KPI for any supply chain should be the regional utilization.
Yes.
Right. If you are present in 90 to 95% of the warehouses that you have marked in, for example, in Amazon, if you are at more than 8 to 10 warehouses, in Flipkart, you have more than 8 to 10, you have to make sure that you are present in, your inventory is present in all the warehouses.
Absolutely.
Once you are there, right, then supply chain rules actually came to conclusion here that if you maintain the RU, rest marketing team will take care of, because the only thing happens is if your sales are not happening by any chance, people will never get to know, is it because of the supplier, is it because of marketing? Because
Right.
you put a lot of amount in marketing, money in marketing, you are getting the customers, but if they are going empty handed, they'll never come back, right? Once you
Right.
are present there, then you know that why they are not coming. Is it the product? Is it the packaging? Is it the serviceability?
Yeah.
You'll get to know the reason. Is it, are we doing the marketing right or not? Right.
Right.
So
Right.
supply chain responsibility increases when you are working on all the three platforms, because if a channel fails, right, we will never get to know the reason until and unless you don't provide the product to them.
Absolutely.
This is
Absolutely.
how we think ki supply chain plays a major role in understanding what works, what doesn't work, by
Yes.
providing the products at all the different kind of customers who are
Opportunities. Yeah. Yeah.
correct.
But do you have differentiated products for, let's say, international market versus domestic versus, let's say, offline, or the same product is available across the channel?
Same product is available across channels, right? There might be some SKUs different sometimes,
Yeah.
but product wise, we want to open the products to each and every kind of customer that are present,
Right.
right? SKUs we might differ sometimes, but majorly we try to put everything out there.
Right.
So to get a true feedback, right? For example, if we are putting same SKU in all the three platforms, it is not working in one platform, we'll
Yes.
get to know, okay, why it is not working. Because sometimes if so our perception is, if we are selling it online, why offline customer will not take. This is how we come, right?
Yes.
Then if it doesn't take offtake in offline, right, then we figure out with our head of offline person that what is the reason, what is the feedback, or vice versa. If something is getting an offtake in offline, why it is not coming on offline, and then we can,
Right.
with that data, we can come to a conclusion, okay, this works in offline, this works in online, or this works in marketplaces, right?
Right. Right.
Which category is working on where. So we get to know ki, okay, for this kind of category, people are coming on Amazon. For this kind of category, people are coming on Flipkart. For this kind of category on Nykaa. These kind of products are not selling on these, and these are coming on our website.
Yes.
So you'll get to know, acha, okay, this is, and then hence you can define your marketing strategies, your product distribution strategies.
Yes.
And it takes a lot of years to finally come to a conclusion, but every day you get to know an insight, and you build your plan to you do things to make your insights more confident enough. Okay, now I have come to a conclusion, but it will take a couple of years to understand, okay, which market is for what. And I think it might take more time, because if it have been solved, then there could have been a playbook for all these three, right? So people are still figuring out, but yes, people behave very differently on these three platforms. Very
So, I mean, I've seen people actually start with different, let's say, grammages or even different price point on different channels just to entice people.
Correct. So we have launched few SKUs at different prices, but we keep it everywhere just to see, okay, acha, yahan pe ye wala price point bhi off take kar raha hai, then this price point will going to off take. So we can get an insight, okay, this is the price point that people are looking for, right? So we try to experiment everything everywhere.
Right. Have you ever tried, let's say, sampling kind of thing? There's a lot of dedicated websites now which are actually offering only sampling as a service, right? So how is your experience on that side?
So with sampling, what we understood is, as a brand, right, we never try to promote margins. Sorry, right? Discount is one way of selling, right? But it's you are calling a customer and you are so. Okay, if I'll state you in that way, first is brand, knowing of a brand, right? Then second is considering to buy the product, right? Third is conversion of the customer. At conversion of the customer, you can do whatever discounts or whatever strategies that marketing team picks.
Yeah.
Last part is repeat, right?
Yes.
You want to repeat the customer, and then the sampling helps. But if you try the product, if we send our products to, and if you try the product, it gives you a brilliant confidence of the product. Okay, I have used this. These products are also beautiful. Let me buy more, right? So it's kind of validation that customer gives or we get from customer by doing this sampling activity. Sampling actually plays a very good role in what you say, in bringing the customer back with a bigger basket size, right? So again, it's a kind of sales tool plus a post-purchase tool. So for example, in supply chain, we call a post-purchase communication. Once you place the order, there's a kind of communication that happens with the customer to keep the customer engaging. Sampling is one part of that engagement, that a customer is trying more of our product, and hence that's why you have seen a couple of websites that are growing really fast in this segment, right?
Yes. But I mean, the idea I'm getting is a standalone sampling is what you are preferring. There could be an option of, let's say, someone buys a product, you will sample something else also along with that, a bundle kind of thing, right?
Correct.
So any thought on that side?
You always want to basically, again, it's operationally very heavy to make samples of each and every product, right? So what you try is you want your products which tells the story of your product, right?
Yes.
Story of your brand. So we always try to send a mix of those products, but it's seasonal dependent as well. Sometimes in winters you can send moisturizers as a sampling tool. In summers you can send body washes as a sampling tool. So it product category which you want to promote, and plus the seasonality, right? So it's a what you can say, it's one other marketing tool that is used by marketing team to get the customer back on our website.
Absolutely.
Because you can lose the customer in kind of cluttered communication right now. So I am also reaching to the customer. You are and other brands are reaching to the customer, right? So the customer gets confused. But if he has a physical bottle available with you, and if you have used the product and feel the product, right, he'll come back to you, right, one way or other. So, and it's seasonal dependent. So you can give a bundle of products, a couple of products. You can send a regime to them. You first apply face wash, then face scrub, then toners, right? So it totally depends what they want to put into the market, right? So I think it's the final call is taken by marketing team which to go into the market, and our job is to make sure that it reaches to the customer with every order.
Yes. And I think I remember I saw a lot of combos, especially near Diwali and Christmas, right? mCaffeine products combined. So again, is this something that you do at the source, or is it something that you do later at at a point which is closer to the consumption or sales, or is it like something which is made as a combo, or is it something which is prepared as a combo later as postponement point of view?
Got it. So it depends on the channel on which we are selling the product, right? On our own website, we prepare the product. Or on marketplaces, we send the made out product, right?
Right.
Because again, we have not done the customization for till now, right?
Yes.
You have a lot of gift sets available on our website. You can order a gift set, but customization is not there. So we generally prefer to make the gift kits because uh, gifting, you know, is basically very personalized, right? It may not be a personalized combo that you are asking for, but it's very personalized. So we try to do it in our mother warehouse sometimes, but again, it depends on the kind of operation, what the kind of place you are in. But generally we figure out ki these gift sets have to be made by the person who is actually thinking that it is going for a gift, right? So it has to be very neat and clean. It has to be placed in a very proper position. We have a very strong SOPs for gift kits, other than all the SOPs we have for other products. But I think gifting, you can build in your warehouse. You can build in the third party warehouses you are working with. It's an operations and SOP wherever you want to, which is more suitable to you, is what I'll think in that way.
But I mean, from supply chain perspective, it's a risk also. That something sales and something getting stocked out, always that trade-off is always there, right? So,
but you can again, it comes again to a projection part where you keep the inventory in a very different way, right? You block the inventory for these gift kits, right? You keep the SKU code a different so that this inventory doesn't get used into your normal SKUs, right?
yes.
So you block the inventory for gifting, because if someone is gifting, for example, you are sending a gift. If Omkar is sending a gift to Saurabh, right? If I'll not deliver that gift kit, this is the most experiential thing that we can offer to any customer, right? And if we go anywhere wrong into this, right, because gifting in India is very specialized gifting. People think a lot before gifting to anything, right?
Yes.
So we make sure that gifting part is always at 100% fill rate. But and for that we have kept the SKUs and everything up a little bit of the gift kit. But we again always see, okay, these SKUs are not working, these SKUs are not working, then use it for the other. So inventory management has to be you have to be very high supervision of inventory management. But for gifting, I think if it's a specialized one, you have to keep some inventory for that. And again, the projection part, the planning part plays a major role here.
Perfect. Now, coming back to a traditional Gisapita question, normally, typically, you will be asked a lot of times, I guess. So how do you see, let's say, automation and all these new techniques coming into picture? Like a lot of talk on, let's say, things like blockchain, right? Since you are so close to customer, are you thinking about combining these kind of technologies into the system? Because I sense a lot of data as an important asset in your discussion right now.
Correct.
So are you looking at some kind of next generation data management technologies as part of your growth program?
Data, yes. Data, we really work hard on how we can preserve our data, how we can do this is on data part. But automation, frankly, is a very broad term which has no limits that what you can do with automation. As a supply chain, for me, traceability of a product in personal care is the kind of automation that I think should come. So, for example, if you're buying an iPhone, right, or products which is electronics mein bahut zyada hota hai, where you know product is dispatched from which factory to reach to that customer. So, for example, if I know a face wash which has been dispatched from our manufacturer till it has been reached to our the consumer, if I know the touch points of that, right, I would be able to do a lot of wonders into that with respect to optimizing my supply chain. That who is buying which product, it has been touched by what many people, right? If there is an issue, can I get it? So traceability is one part, right, which should be there, which right now in my knowledge is no one following in personal care. In heavy electronics you do, but in personal care no one does, right? The traceability wala part. So you never get to know. So for example, if I'm selling it through a marketplace, right, I don't know which product has been gone to which customer. But for example, if it has a traceability, right, I can understand ki, okay, this has gone through Amazon to that customer via this customer and if we can make that tool of traceability across all platforms, right? And would be, I think, a major change in the personal care brand.
Right. And how bad or how risky do you see chances of counterfeiting? Because as your brand goes up, right, there will be a lot of counterfeiting which will come into market, and especially very dangerous in a personal care kind of segment, right?
Correct.
So there are a lot of talks around this traceability solving this counterfeiting as a problem statement as well.
Correct.
But how big is that problem in India as of now?
So counterfeiting, yes, there is an issue which are in talks right now, right? And it has been there, I think, from past many years, that counterfeitability. There have been a lot of solutions that are there into the market, but the only problem is, which I figured out, consumer never comes to you, and so there is less, what you say, education about counterfeiting in the normal consumers, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. They say that it is, they might say that it's a fake product, or it's not a fake product. They don't know, right? So consumer have to be well educated, because there are norms to there are a couple of innovation that has been done into labeling industry, where you can do many things in counterfeiting. People are investing a lot in counterfeiting right now, but I don't think consumer is well aware about how to check that, right? So
Yes.
I think there's a lot of requirement of counterfeiting education at the customer level, but
Yes.
I haven't seen any kind of any brand who's taken up that initiative, or who's saying that loudly, right? Touch wood, till today we have not faced that. So I think people are waiting for that. I don't know, but yes, that's a good point. I'll also take my takeaway from this session would be that, let's take this problem more seriously. Let's talk to the brand, because people that I'm in touch with right now are not that concerned about counterfeiting, but I don't know why. Because there is an Indian market but again, it comes to what kind of pyramid products that you are into, and the counterfeiting problems in which pyramid, if you put your products or put the brands in the pyramid, right? So we have to see counterfeiting is major where, right? So
Perfect.
It's a good point of discussion, and I think you should bring on board someone who actually talks about counterfeiting, and just send me the link. I'll join that.
Absolutely. It's a good input for us also for next seminar. Yes.
Correct.
So Saurabh, maybe I will just take a small break to go towards the questions which are there from the audience right now.
Perfect.
Right. So we have quite a few questions. Maybe we can run through them fast. Yeah, the first question I have here is how should one set delivery expectations with customers, especially on website?
Frankly, if I can say, you can put tags, right? So I just want to understand the objective of defining that. If you're trying to compete with the Amazons or Flipkarts of the world, it would be difficult, right? Plus, it can be included in the post-purchase communications, right? Post-purchase communication, if you keep the customer updated, and there are a lot of that are there which can trace the product and give it to you. But putting on website is there's an extra advantage that people will see, but again, they will compare it. So why to give one more variable to compare? So people, you can see on Amazon it is coming 3 days. If they can see on your website it is 4 days. Unless if you have the infrastructure to beat them on delivery, right? Then you should put it, in my opinion. But yes, it's a good marketing tool if people want to use. But then you have to be very, very good in that area, because if you're putting it, then you have to deliver it as well.
Agree. So, and from my experience also, I can tell you about. I think we had done a survey in Flipkart, and what we found out was it's okay to deliver late, but once you promise, and if you don't deliver, then it becomes a bigger heartbreak for customers.
Definitely, it is.
Yeah, then it's customers are forgiving enough right now. If you say instead of 3 days, I'll send you in 4 days, but if you don't deliver in 4 days also, then they will be ruthless.
Correct.
That's one angle about it, right? But in terms of anxiety of buy, let's say customers are coming to your website as a caffeinated customer, you said, right?
Correct.
So someone who is caffeinated customer gets delayed. How do you manage this customer anxiety?
So basically, first we have a customer connect team. who are available with them, right? They attend the call. We have given enough amount of training to them, what kind of FAQs are there. Plus, we are a human brand, so you have to give a human touch to the customer. Tell them their problems openly. Don't be boast about it. Ki, sir, we'll deliver it tomorrow. If you can't, don't say it to them, right? Tell them, buy it from somewhere, because in my opinion, don't ruin the moment for the customer. If you tell them very truth. So for example, I always think as a consumer, if I call to a brand, if he says that this has the problem has been faced, right? We can give you a solution to that, but can't help it right now. Then the customer is happy. Okay, yaar, koi dikkat nahi. Let's spend one more day more, right? Plus, either this, and if you want to really make sure that the customer is special, right, then you have to put an extra effort. So first you have to choose, right, what kind of situation it is, and give a human touch to that, rather than giving a recorded answers. Ki, okay, this press 1, press 2, press 3. No, try to listen to the customer, give a proper solution, what you think, plus escalate it. And if the question is asked by any founders or any try your sit with customer connect. Tell them if you find it worthy enough that it should be escalated to the top level. And if you find out, then put your best man onto it if you really want to solve that. Right. So situational dependent hai, काफी सारा, but talk to them, tell them as human, not as computers. No computer replies is what we figured out.
I think human touch is the most important part in this whole. Perfect.
Correct.
So Saurabh, I think we were talking about a lot of focus on RU, regional utilization, as well as I think in stock, because you want to make sure that the stock has to be there everywhere, right? How do you balance these matrices against, let's say, something like inventory that you're carrying?
Okay. So again, first, projections, planning, supervision is what is there, but you have a pool of inventory, right? It cannot be an infinite inventory, and the fluctuations can happen on website or on your marketplaces. At a certain level, you can plan, at a certain level, you can project, at a certain level, you can supervise, right? But again, the last part, supervision part, plays there. So for example, if you have a pool of inventory, then you have to run your operations really tight. For example, if I have a mandate to keep 30 days inventory in the market or 25 days inventory in the market, right? That time, if I have low inventory, I'll keep 5 days and I'll refill it, right? But I have to put more time. You cannot, it's a special situation, so you have to give a special attention to that. Otherwise, so available nahi hai. So that attitude doesn't help. The only thing, the supervision part, you have to 10x the supervision on the inventories which you are finding out, and then you have to push your supply chain. Okay, how we can solve this problem, right? So rather than getting panicked, you have to be more calm in that situation. You have to figure out how to solve that, and then you have to push people in a right attitude to get that problem solved, right? So supervision, I think, is will going to help to solve this problem.
So Saurabh, we are talking about quick commerce and all those things, right?
Correct.
So what's your thought on need of, let's say, same day delivery or 2 hours delivery in personal care?
I don't know why, but so it's again a little contradictory, basically. Why would people will need a face wash in 2 hours or shampoo in 2 hours, right? But sometimes there's a need, people forget to order, right? Hence both are required, both are parallel, right? People have a habit to it's basically a habit, right? You try to order very quickly. आपको आदत हो चुकी है. Sometimes you call it क्या ठीक है 3-4 दिन में आ जाएगा. Better planners, orders from website, quick commerce is a whole different kind of people that are there in the market. I think we have to scale up both, right? You cannot ignore one. Quick commerce is the next what you can say, the upcoming market, right? It has been a couple of years or 5 years back industry only, so it's not that old industry. So right now it's at boom, right? And I think there's a good value add where you can get it's a good, what you can say, you feel good when you order anything and get in 2 hours. You also feel as a customer proud.
Yes.
See, I've ordered right now and I received it. So
Yes.
it's a good thing, but you have to focus on work. You cannot ignore quick commerce. Quick commerce will going to scale, for sure will going to scale.
Right, right. So another piece which always becomes a problem is something like cash on deliveries and RTOs,
Correct.
especially related to cash on deliveries, right?
Uh,
So how did you approach this as a problem? Any solutions that you have come up with, which
So first, your target audience, what kind of marketing you are doing, right? Some brands are choosing it to do because they want to penetrate more. So they are going to tier 2, tier 3, or more enter into the more away region of a state,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
first, it's a choice of the brand. Well,
yes,
because if you, more you penetrate, more people will going to try, right? More people will going to try. What you can say, more people will, the RTOs will increase because of the trying wala part, right?
yes,
So it's inevitable, but yes, at least focus on the products which are why it is RTO. You should know the reasons, right? So we have a team who works on we call the customers, we try to connect with the customer, what happened, right? So either there are a couple of reasons, they are trying, they are not available, or sometimes I get a better deal, right? So you'll
yeah,
get to know the reasons of the RTO. It is brand dependent, is it operational dependent, is it marketing dependent, right? So you have to actually understand why the RTOs are happening, right? Rather than what amount of RTOs are happening, right? Once you
yeah,
know the why, right, you will already able to give, it is just because we are trying to penetrate, go to the marketing team, what is your plan for penetration, because the RTO will going to increase. So don't panic. Again, right? In India, again, as our UPI is one of the finest payment transactions. So our payments are going digitalized, right?
yes,
So
yes,
in at least in couple of years, you will see the demand for the payment will, COD will decrease, and that will increase the online payment. Plus,
digitization,
how transparent you are. So for example, you need customer testimony that this brand, so why you order from Amazon, why you order from Flipkart, right? How they build the trust, the cashback, the if they had RTO'd, in how much time you are getting your money back, right?
yes,
If
yes,
you are, if you'll get that testimony on your websites, right, it will help you to from COD to prepaid, right? You can build that, but yes, COD is not only a function of supply chain, it's a function of planning, it's a function of marketing as well.
yes,
You have to
absolutely.
talk to marketing team to understand, and you have to know the reasons of RTOs. Otherwise, you will not be able to reduce that.
True, true,
This is my take on RTOs.
true. Perfect, perfect. So that was really interesting, Saurabh. I think we are running out of time right now.
Yes, I think yes. If you
It
want to
was
see a couple of questions, I can address it.
yes. So that's why. So if you have a couple of more minutes, maybe two questions.
Definitely, not a problem.
Yeah. So one of the question is about, I think you address about the courier rates, right? But
You can
there,
add a couple of questions. I'll try to answer them quickly
yes,
if it is required. Perfect.
yes. So there is another question in terms of RU that we spoke about, right? The regional utilization piece, right? So what is the right number that a typical cosmetics brand should target? Any benchmarks around that?
It should be more than 90 to 95%. You have to actually target for 100% RU. If you're landing less than 95%, then there is some bit of, you have to work on your planning and projections, right? Because it is achievable. Again, at what stage you are is also dependent. So basically, if you are starting very early, try to build RU, but again, because of that RU, don't stuck into your inventory. Because sometimes you, right? So at what stage, if it's a new launch product, target for less RU, right? Try to, but then you have to, your supply chain has to be strong. Okay, once this product picked up, I'll but for products which are your A, which has been 2 years or 3 years or 1 year, who has lived the journey in the market, and you have entire data, don't target less than 95%. Else you don't know, because your hero product is not available, your long tail products will never going to get picked, right?
Absolutely.
People pick the long tail products with the hero product. So for hero products, you have to be more than 95%. 5% I'm leaving because of some warehouses or somewhere where you know that it will going to stuck the inventory.
Yeah, uncertainties basically.
Inventory correction should be done if you are targeting for that kind of RU.
Perfect. So
Every month.
supervision is again a critical thing in that.
Correct.
Perfect. So maybe last question, I'll pick up the most generic question out of all, and most important also maybe. What are the critical success factors from your perspective for success in D2C operations?
In D2C operations, first getting close to the customer is what I see, right? Give the serviceability. You have to be, it's a very generic answer, but you have to be very inquisitive, right? You have to understand why this is happening. If RTO has increased, why? RTO have decreased, why? What you have done, what changed, right? Is the marketing changed? Is the offer changed? What changed? If you see any fluctuations in your BAU, even a delta of 2 to 3%, right? You should at least spend 5 minutes on what, why, how, all these generic questions you have to ask. Right? So it should be done. Just see the data will tell you everything, but any fluctuations in your BAU is an insight. Either it's a decreasing or increasing, it doesn't matter, right? It will give an insight. So I think any fluctuation, you should jump on that directly.
Absolutely.
Good fluctuation, bad fluctuation, but you should jump on it, right? So this is generic. I think it's a very generic answer, but this is how we approach.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this is something probably people won't do it. If it is good, probably people will not understand why it is going good.
Correct.
That's also. But yeah, very, very insightful for that. So, all right, I think we are at the end of the session. So thanks a lot, Saurabh, for joining and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you so much, Omkar. If people want to ask questions, they can send me on my LinkedIn inbox, and I'll try to answer as many as I can.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Omkar.
Thanks everyone for joining in. All right.
Thank you. Bye. Take care. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Thanks for joining in. We'll see you again in the next episode. Thanks.
Thank you, Aman. Bye.